Does God speak through the wind? Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Deborah, founder of the Writers Incorn International. And on today's message, I'm going to be talking to you about how God speaks to us through the wind in his creation. I have my notes here and will not be with you very long because I just want to get this message out to you on today. So I wanted to talk to you about this wind thing. There's been a lot of wind, the tornadoes, the hurricane is stirred up by the wind. Does God speak to you through the wind? Can he speak to you through the wind? Well, you know what? I believe he can, and I believe he does. But we just need to know how to interpret how God speaks to us when the winds blow. You see, throughout the Bible, when it comes to the wind, it's not just about the weather. The wind is also about God's movement. It's his ruach, it's his breath, it's the spirit, it's a symbolic spirit of God's presence in the earth. In Genesis 1, verses 2, it says, "The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters, and the Spirit of the Lord hovered over the surface of the waters." That means God's Spirit, his wind, his ruach, hovered over the ocean, over the waters. And the word spirit in Hebrew, of course, is ruach. It literally means wind or breath. So before there was form, before there was light, God moved as a wind. Creation began as the stirring of the wind, a breath from God that carried life. When God created man out of the dirt, he breathed his breath, his ruach, his spirit into him, and he became a living being. You see, the wind is also invisible. It is, we see these effects of the wind, but we can't catch it. We can't determine which way it's going. The same is true with God. When I was at this job one time, and I remember being in the office with the president, and he was sharing some things with me, and all of a sudden the wind blew. And he said, "Just like that wind right there." Now, that's the first time I really paid any attention to the ruach or the wind of God. Of course, as a child, I was always scared of the storms. I was scared of the thunder. I was scared of the lightning. I was scared of the howling winds that would just rattle my window. But God operates in the winds. In the winds, there's a gentle breeze of the wind. There's also demonic winds. But right now, we're talking about how God speaks to us in the winds. In John 3, verse 8, it says, "The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit." You see, those that are born with the Spirit are just like the wind. You don't know which way it's going. It blows wherever it wants. You hear its sound. So when you feel the wind, don't just think of it as nature. See it as a reminder that the Spirit of God is active, present, and moving in our lives today. In Acts 2, on the day of Pentecost, the Holy Spirit came like the sound of a rushing wind. You see, God used the wind to fill his people with his Spirit so they can have an extra layer of protection, so his Spirit will be in them. To breathe life into the early church, it came as the sound of revival, the sound of wind. So even today, God speaks through his creation. We just need to be still and listen for the wind. Listen for the breath of God to move in the earth. God is so awesome. He breathes his spirit into us. Sometimes when life feels still, confused, or overwhelming, the wind reminds us that God is near, that God is moving, even if we can't see him. So the next time when you're outside and the wind brushes your face or dances through the trees or blows the flowers to and fro, just pause and listen. Let it be a personal reminder to you that God is breathing over your situation, over your life, over your circumstances, that He can speak to you through the wind. Speaking, He can speak His peace. He can stir His promises, and He can awaken your spirit with His wind. God moved at the beginning. He moved at Pentecost, and He's still moving in our lives today. So let me ask you, have you ever felt God speak to you through the wind or through nature in general, through His creation? If you have, then you know that God is still moving in your life. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you know the next time I upload a video. Until next time, shalom.